All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be doing yet another comparison review. This time of two beers from the Stone Brewing Company, and they're out of both Escondido, California, and Richmond, Virginia. And I have their Imperial Stout, the 2022 vintage, and their Imperial Russian Stout, the 2011 vintage. So the 2022 vintage is an Imperial Stout that comes in at 10.5% alcohol by volume, 45 IBUs at the time of review. This can is just under 2 months old. Meanwhile, the 2011 vintage is a Russian Imperial Stout that comes in at 10.5% alcohol by volume, 52 IBUs at the time of review. I don't know exactly how old this bottle is, but I did a little bit of research, and they released these bottles in May of 2011, and we are now in early to mid-December of 2022. So I'm going to say that this bottle is approximately 11.5 years old. So when Stone this year announced that they were going to release their Imperial Russian Stout, once again, I was so happy because I think this is one of my favorite seasonals from Stone. They took it away years ago, and the fact that they brought it back, I'm really excited about it. Now, they did remove the Russian name from it. This is just Imperial Stout, but these are very similar recipes. Now, I don't think Stone, every single year they release this, had the exact same recipe, because some years the ABV is different, the IBUs are different. So it's not always the same recipe, but like it's a similar recipe every single year. And on the back of the can, we'll read it real quick from the new one. It says, "You voted, we brewed." So last year, a lot of people voted on old beers to bring back, and this was one of them. It says, "Ask any hardcore Stone enthusiast about our most legendary beers, and you're bound to hear mention of this one. Nearly jet black with a fluffy hot chocolate covered head. A goblet of this obsidian wonder held to the sky could block out the sun or an evening. Redolent with dark chocolate and heavy roast up front, gracefully supported by nuances of coffee, black currant, and molasses as it finishes. This beaut is ageable for years. Some of us are still enjoying our bottles from the early 2000s. So to look ahead, what will your stock of the 2022 edition of the Stone Imperial Stout be in 2037? Legit question. Advanced planning will be its own reward." Now, I'm not going to read the back of this, but let it be known these are very similar beers, and the fact that I'm doing a comparison here, this is the oldest beer I have from Stone in my cellar, so I thought, why not do a side-by-side? So both of these I put into my darker beer fridge, so I'd say these are both around 55 degrees right now. We'll do a pour of the new one because I feel like this should be the first one. Oh yeah, that is jet black and looking like we're gonna do something like this. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna pour the entire thing in because I want to do a cuvee, and a lot of times the cuvées do not work out, and therefore I can hopefully be able to save some of it just to drink like that. Okay, let's hope this doesn't explode. Let's hope that I aged it quite well. We will see here. Okay, so there was a hiss on there. It's not going nuts. That's a good sign. So there was a nice hiss, not over the top. Let's see how the carbonation is in this one. Again, 11.5 years old. Something like that, is that? Yeah, look at great carbonation. Very similar. So I'm going to have to cap this and take it to the dome piece, assuming it's good and doesn't taste like soy sauce or anything wrong with it. You can see the bubble in there. So let's get a swirl here of this and a swirl of this, and we will show you the beers. So they look very identical. I would say this is more of like a pitch black, and this is more of like a deep dark brown. On camera, it's just going to look pitch black. They both have a very dark brown colored head, super creamy looking heads too. Looks like they said like hot chocolate. It really does. And it goes for both of them. I can't do the left-handed swirl as well, something like that. But yeah, they look great. They both have decent legs, although the older one looks like the legs are a little bit more prominent, the alcohol legs. Can't really see through them. Yeah, both of these beers look like you would expect them to look, honestly. They look fucking fantastic. So anyway, let's get a nose on the fresher one. Put this over here. Whew. Now again, they call this Imperial Stout, Russian Imperial Stout. They're both Russian Imperial Stouts. They took away the Russian name for obvious reasons. So they're both Russian Imperial Stouts, which to me are always a little bit more bitter. This smells really good though. A deep, dark, like 60, 70%, like a cacao. If you ever had like the cacao bars and they're like, you can get anywhere, I forgot the percentage, like 30 to 90. I think there might be even 100, like 100% cacao bars. I always enjoy like the 50, 60 with just a touch of sweetness. But that's what I'm getting here. Yeah, big, heavy, almost charred malt. Get a little bit of like a marshmallow. Like not a marshmallow sweetness, just a marshmallow character, like a vanilla into marshmallow. There's definitely dark fruit. They talk about molasses, sure. There's like black cherry, grape, raisin. There's caramel and toffee too, a little bit of like a sweeter malt kind of character. And then there's this nice, like almost resinous, slightly, I don't want to say pine, but like maybe like spruce tip-esque kind of hop note, earthy, somewhat resinous in the nose. Like, you know, it's going to have a little bit of a more like moderate bitterness to it. Oh, it smells awesome. Yeah, that's like the classic nose on that beer. Like it's great. Let's get at the nose over here. Let's swirl it up a little bit. Wow. Well, holy. So did I even mention coffee here? This is so almost smoky, charry, big coffee roast. Way bigger than that. Like, and then underneath it, there's molasses, there's caramel, there's toffee, there's sweet. I'm making my mouth water. There's sweet, dark chocolate. There's a little bit of like a soy sauce umami kind of characteristic. This does not smell oxidized. I'm not getting any kind of staleness here. A lot of times you get oxidation in beer. Sometimes you get that, I get that sherry note. Not getting that here. But there is like a little vinous type of thing. So maybe a little bit of oxidation there. Yeah, it has a little bit of like a red wine grapey thing, but not too big. Wow, this is it's such a fucking different beer age. I mean, you know, it's 11 and a half years old to just under 2 months. Yeah, much more subdued. This is just like intense. Wow, these are gonna be completely different. And obviously the hop character has kind of faded. This is that's a gnarly nose. Holy shit, that's crazy. Anyway, I want to get into it, so cheers everybody. Let's see what the new offering is like. Yeah. It's very nostalgic when I take that first sip. Because when the first like handful of beers I really enjoyed in the like Russian Imperial kind of style, or just an Imperial Stout, was like Old Rasputin and then this beer. Like these are the two beers that, like, when it comes to big, just like somewhat bittering, but like complex, over the top, like punching in the face Imperial Stouts, those were like the first two. And this is just reminiscent of what I loved back in 2011, 2012. Body, it's like lower side of full body, medium full. It might be a bit thin at 10.5% for some. I'm fine with it. The mouthfeel, it has a decent carbonation, like lower side of moderate carbonation, but man, it has such a smoothness and almost slightly creamy vibe to it. The taste, a lot of bittering chocolate, baker's chocolate, like I said, like 70-80% cacao bar right at the forefront. Underneath that has a really big roasted, almost charred kind of malt character. It's almost smoky in some ways, as it passes through a little bit of like that molasses into toffee, maybe a touch of caramel, brown sugar, sweeter malt notes. Underlying black cherry and maybe like a raisin kind of dark fruit characteristic. There's a little bit of vanilla too, just a tinge of it. But as it passes through, this is where you know that this is number one, fresh, and number two, why it's a Russian Imperial Stout, even though I just call it Imperial Stout now. It has that moderate, resinous, earthy, piney, spruce tippy kind of feeling to it. So yeah, finishes moderately bitter with a semi-dry kind of feeling to it. This is balanced, but might lean a little bit more towards the hop side of things. This is somewhat of a hop forward beer. It's like 60 to 40% in the hop, because this, on the back of the palate, it has that resinous kind of just feeling to the beer. Like, you know that this has hops in it, and they're noticeable. And a lot of times you don't get that with Imperial Stouts. With Russian Imperial Stouts, you typically do, and a lot of folks like to age Russian Imperial Stouts so that mellows out and all the complexities of the malt come to the forefront. This is really good. It's kind of what I remember this beer being. I feel like fresher, or I should say fresh back in the day, it had more of a hop character. Like, it was moderately to like a touch above moderately bitter, so a little bit less. 45 IBUs compared to 52 for that, and I think some years it's like 55, 60. But this is pretty much what this beer, you know, is to me. They'd probably nail it to 90% of what I remember this beer being. It's really fucking good. And they should just keep this as a fucking winter seasonal. Like, it pisses me off that breweries take stuff away. Like, maybe it doesn't sell that well, but like, I clearly have a 2011. I would buy a couple bottles of this every year. It was fucking really good. Anyway, let me cleanse the palate and we'll get into the 2011. I need to fix that. It makes noises. Air's getting there. Anyway, let's get into 2011. Cheers, everyone. So different. That's fucking wild. Wow, that is so fucking delicious. You know, a lot of people talk about like cellaring beer, you know. Certain styles obviously don't let them. I mean, I have styles in my cellar that, you know, they're probably trash at this point, and they're just, you know, probably ruined, you know, barrel age, different barrel age adjuncts, this and that. But a classic, just core 4 ingredients like this can last, which is why Stone was saying, hey, people are enjoying beers from their, or they're enjoying this beer from like the early 2000s. So you're talking about like a 20-plus-year-old beer. This is 11.5 years old, and this is fucking aged beautifully. Is there a little bit of oxidation here? Yes. Does it, you know, impact the beer to some degree? Maybe a smidge. Do I care? Fucking no, I don't. This is delicious. Buying this has more of a medium full body than this. It's definitely thicker, more viscous. The mouthfeel is what I wanted this to be. So the carbonation, while still here, and it's carbonated, it's mildly to moderate carbonation as opposed to like almost moderate carbonation over here. And what that allows this to do for me personally in the mouthfeel category is it makes it really soft in comparison to this one and super smooth, but there's a creaminess that this doesn't have in comparison. Like this is definitely top tier. The taste, meanwhile, it's everything that this beer has, but subdued, and the hops have died out a bit. So the dark chocolate in this, where I said this is like a 70-80% cacao bar, this is like a 30 to 40% cacao bar. That's the difference between the two. And this is more in my wheelhouse. I like 50%. So this is closer to what I enjoy. The like deeply charred, like kind of roasted, almost burnt kind of malt character, this does not have. This, you know, it's not burnt or anything, but it had more roasty, right? There's a little bit, you know, it's roasted malt. It's there, but it's dialed back a little bit. The caramel, the toffee, the molasses, the brown sugar come more to the forefront in this one. Again, front of the palate, there's a little bit of that marshmallow vanilla thing that I don't really get with the 2022. That's all at forefront, passes through. It finishes with a slight earthy kind of hop tone. It's not, you know, spruce tippy. It's not piney. It doesn't have like a big resinous tone. Super easy to drink in comparison. Now, the alcohol with these two, I'll be honest with you, there's a warming in the chest from both, but they both hide the alcohol relatively well. 10.5%, I'd guess doing this blind, maybe 10, maybe more like 9.5. So it does a decent job, but this hides it a little bit better than this. Also, the oxidation notes I'm getting here, a little bit on the, I would say a touch on the finish. I'm getting a smidge, an ever so slight, like cardboardy, stale kind of feeling to it. And that vinous kind of red wine, sherry, it's a little bit underlying, but I like that note. I like that red wine, sherry kind of what I think is oxidation in here, right? The stale kind of feeling on the back palate, sure. This finish is semi-dry with a mild bitterness, where this finish like more semi-dry to a moderate bitterness, right? The preference all day is the aged one. I'll tell you right now. Now, you could say that's because, you know, back in 2011, maybe Stone was doing better things. Maybe because it was aged. I did a pretty good job cellaring this. I feel there's you know, nothing, there's no infection here. Yeah, there's a little bit of an oxidized feel, but all in all, the aged one, significantly better to my palate. So if you have an aged bottle of this, I would highly recommend cracking it open as soon as you possibly can, especially if it's in the last 10 years, like 2011 onward. I think, well, I'd say like 2011 to like 2016 or 17. I don't remember when they last released it. But I think a beer like this with at least 5 years on it, perfect. This is delicious. Not a perfect beer, even though I just said that. Not perfect beer, but it's pretty fucking good. We're going to do a cuvee. We're going to do the cuvee in a second. All right, cuvee time. We'll do pour into this. And after the cuvee, I'm going to rate all of them. I usually rate them 4. I'm going to rate all of them after the cuvee. Let me do proper pour here so I don't spill this everywhere. I'm really excited about this cuvee. Is it going to be the best of both worlds? Who the fuck knows? So we'll do a quick look at the, yeah, so I poured it a little aggressively. It has like a finger of this really dark brown, super creamy hot chocolate head, pitch black in the glass, alcohol legs, whole nine. Let's get a nose. What the fuck? Smells like s'mores. I shit you not, smells like s'mores. What just happened? Yeah, it's chocolate, it's fucking marshmallow, and I'm getting graham cracker. All right, listen. Don't ever listen to my reviews. I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. It smells like a s'mores. The chocolate is so pronounced, the marshmallow is pronounced, and then I'm getting this like graham cracker kind of sweetness. Fuck me, right? Cheers. It's fucking pretty good. It's better than the fresh one. Not as good as the aged. But what I think it does is it kind of drowns out the big hop character here, but it also introduces a little bit more balance where this leans a little bit sweeter or malt forward. This is more a little bit hop forward. This is like the perfect balance of the two. Body again, medium full. Mouth feels more to that side where it's smooth, creamy, a little bit softer. How the fuck do I rate these? I don't know. Move these to the side. We're going to do a rating here. So Stone Imperial Stout, the 2022 vintage. I am going to give this a, we'll go low 4.25. I'm going to give this a 4.2 out of 5. I think stylistically, this is great. This is like kind of what I want from a beer like this, right? I think it just needs a little bit of time. Just a little bit of time. Just a couple years at the very least, maybe into 5 years. And this will be drinking like this, which brings me to the 2011 vintage of this beer. Oh, it smells crazy. Oh, like brown sugar, caramel toffee. Wow, it smells way better out of the fucking, I don't know. I'm crazy. Anyway, Stone Imperial Russian Stout, the 2011. Low 4.75 and go 4.7. Like, this is fucking delicious. I'm getting ripped right now, I can tell you. I'm just feeling it. You may have noticed my review go downhill as I'm drinking on these. Starting to feel it. Lightweight nowadays. And it's just, it is what it is. This, though, right here, this, get like a straight 4.5. Like maybe 4.4, 4.5 for the cuvee. It's like the best of both worlds, but what it's stopping it from getting as high as this beer got is I don't think the mouthfeel and body are as good, whereas this, a little bit more hop forward, body mouthfeel a little bit worse. But 4.2, 4.7, we'll go 4.4. If you have an older bottle of Stone Imperial Russian Stout, grab it, drink it, compare it to the new release, it's worth it. Price point availability, I have fucking no idea with this old bottle. Probably paid somewhere like $10, $8 to $10 for that bomber. The new release, though, I think these are like $18 a six pack. I think I paid $3 something for that can. Like it was like $3.29, $3.49, something like that. For a 10.5% beer, yeah, for sure. Now, like I said with the alcohol, a big warmings in my chest. No astringency on the palate for anything. The fresh one, the aged one, the cuvee, the whole, none of that was really like, again, I'd say like 9.5%, 10% max. So hit it quite well, all things considered. But when you drink a beer like this and it's boozy, I don't really get offended or upset or anything because it's a 10.5% beer. You kind of expect it. So holy fuck, I'm not getting hammered, but I'm definitely getting buzzed. And I'm going to finish the rest of this can. I'm going to cap that, finish that. By the end of that, I'm just going to be like, just let's go to bed. Let's go to bed. So anyway, if you've had either of these beers, whether it's the 2022 vintage or let's say you have a 2011 in your cellar, grab it. I want to hear your thoughts. If you have a 2011, grab it, come back to this video and be like, hey, I thought so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. That's what I do this for, interaction and, other people giving me feedback based on what they drank, their opinions to mine. That's what this is the back and forth. It's the quid pro quo, as a good friend of mine, fellow beer tuber, DJ over DJ's Brew. I can't even fucking speak. DJ's Brew Tube said. And I said availability on Stone. This you probably can't find anymore. This, you see Stone, you should be able to pick it up. So if you've watched to the end, let's do a code word. You watch the end, say, type in the 3 letters IRS for Imperial Russian Stout. Type that into the comment section. I'll know if you watched to the end. For those of you who didn't, I get it. This is probably gonna be like a really long review, but I feel like when you bust out a 2011 from your cellar that's 11 and a half years old and you compare it to a fresh one, this is like a 20, 25 minute review, whatever. You can fast forward, you can stop it, you can fucking watch it in 2 times, or I think there's just 2 times speed on YouTube, could be 3 times. But things like this make beer tubing fun for me, regardless of how long the fucking review is. So anyway, we're gonna shut it down finally. So thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Till the next one. Cheers.